Admiral Zethkar of the Galactic Hegemony stared at the tactical display with growing satisfaction. The blue marble of Earth hung suspended in space, surrounded by a perfect sphere of quantum inhibitor buoys, each one the size of a space station. Their combined field strong enough to sever every faster-than-light communication channel and hyperspace lane within a 50-light-year radius. "The humans are effectively quarantined," reported his tactical officer, her crystalline voice tinkling, like wind chimes. "No messages in or out. No ships can enter hyperspace within the containment zone." Zethkar's tentacles writhed with pleasure. Humanity had been a thorn in the hegemony's side for too long. Their aggressive expansion, their refusal to accept proper galactic hierarchy, their maddening insistence on treating all species as equals, it ended today. Let them stew in their isolated system for a few decades. When the hegemony finally lifted the quarantine, humanity would be grateful to accept any terms offered. "How long until the field stabilizes completely?" Zethkar asked. 17 more. "Hours, Admiral. Then nothing gets in or out." What the Admiral couldn't see was the emergency session happening in the deepest bunkers beneath Geneva, where Director Sarah Chen stood before a room full of humanity's greatest minds and most powerful leaders. "Project Hyperion is our only option," she said, her voice steady, despite the magnitude of what she was proposing. "We knew this day might come." President Martinez leaned forward. "Remind me again what Hyperion actually does, Director." The technical briefings were dense. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the project's lead physicist, stood. "Mr. President, conventional faster-than-light travel requires entering hyperspace, a parallel dimension with different physical laws. The alien's quarantine field prevents that transition, but Hyperion doesn't use hyperspace." "Then how?" "We break reality itself," Dr. Tanaka said simply. "We've learned to manipulate the quantum foam that underlies space-time. Instead of going around the universe's speed limit, we temporarily rewrite the local laws of physics. Within a Hyperion field, light speed becomes negotiable." General Harrison frowned. "What are the risks?" Dr. Tanaka exchanged glances with Director Chen. "If we miscalculate, we could tear a hole in reality itself. The damage could be significant." "How significant?" "Potentially universal." The room fell silent. Outside, they could feel the alien field tightening around their solar system like a noose. "The alternative is subjugation," Director Chen said quietly. "Humanity reduced to a client species. Our expansion stopped, our independence gone forever. They've done this to a dozen other civilizations." President Martinez closed his eyes. "How long to activate Hyperion?" "The infrastructure has been in place for 2 years, hidden in asteroids throughout the system. We just need to synchronize the field generators. 6 hours. Do it." 5 hours and 53 minutes later, every sensor in the Hegemony fleet screamed simultaneous warnings. Admiral Zethkar rushed to the bridge as his officers frantically worked their stations. "What's happening?" he demanded. "Unknown energy. Signatures throughout the human system," his science officer reported. "They're doing something to the quantum substrate itself." "Admiral, I've never seen readings like this." On the display, space around Earth began to shift. Stars in the background twisted and warped as if seen through curved glass. The quantum inhibitor buoys, those mighty monuments to hegemony technology, flickered and went dark one by one. "Impossible," Zethkar breathed. "They can't break a quantum inhibitor field. The energy requirements alone—" His words were cut off as space itself seemed to fold. Reality rippled outward from Earth like a stone thrown into a pond, and suddenly the human homeworld was gone. Not destroyed, Gone. Where Earth had been, space was perfectly empty, as if no planet had ever existed there. Long-range sensors! Zethkar barked. Find them! Admiral! His sensor operator's voice was barely a whisper. I'm detecting massive gravitational distortions in the Vega system, 25 light-years away. Show me. The display shifted, and there was Earth hanging serenely in orbit around Vega. But it wasn't alone. The entire human fleet, thousands of ships, materialized around it in perfect formation. Incoming transmission, communications reported. Put it through. Director Chen's face appeared on screen, and she was smiling. Admiral Zethkar, I presume? This is Director Sarah Chen of the Terran Commonwealth. We've received your message regarding quarantine protocols. Zethkar found his voice. How did you move an entire planet? We didn't move it, Admiral. We moved the space around it. Fascinating what you can accomplish when you stop thinking of physical laws as limitations and start treating them as suggestions. Her smile widened. You wanted to isolate Earth. Congratulations. You've motivated us to become truly mobile. This is impossible, Zethkar sputtered. The energy requirements would be impossible using your technology. Yes, but humans have this peculiar habit of not accepting impossible as an answer. We prefer to find another way. On tactical displays throughout the hegemony fleet, new contacts appeared. Human ships, materializing out of nowhere in perfect attack. Formations around every vessel. You see, Admiral, Director Chen continued, your quarantine field taught us something valuable. You rely on hyperspace for everything. Travel, communication, logistics, but reality has more than one layer. While you were blocking the hyperspace routes, we learned to swim in deeper waters. What do you want? Zethkar asked, his earlier confidence evaporating. What we've always wanted, to be left alone to explore the universe in peace. Your hegemony claims ownership of star systems based on some ancient right of conquest. But space is big, Admiral. Big enough for everyone, if you're willing to think beyond the traditional limitations. Behind her, Earth completed its first orbit, around Vega, completely stable despite having traveled 25 light-years in 6 hours. Consider this a demonstration, Chen said. Humanity will no longer be confined to one system, or 10, or 100. The universe itself is our frontier. Now, we suggest you inform the Hegemony Council that quarantine tactics are no longer viable against humans. The transmission ended. Around the hegemony fleet, the human ships vanished as suddenly as they had appeared, leaving only empty space and the impossible sight of Earth serenely orbiting a star it had never been born around. Admiral Zethkar slumped in his command chair. In trying to cage humanity, they had instead taught them to break free of the very concept of cages. The universe, he realized with growing dread, was about to become a much more interesting place.